Barrett
and Christina.
and you're tuning in to Seat for Every Ass. Hey everyone, welcome back to Seat for Every Ass. Today we have a special guest. Our design assistant, Erin, is here. So Erin is actually going to ask us a bunch of Q&As that we got from our Instagram followers. So take it away, Erin.
Yes, so we kind of have like three categories. Some of these you may have answered before our new guests that are following us. Personal question. When did you know you wanted to go into interior design?
Christina, you go first.
Like interior design as a career
Yes.
or just for the passion?
Well, for both.
I mean, I always loved interior design and I always wished I could be an interior designer. I think just dabbling in with like my own house and friends' homes, it just really made me like, create interest and spark. But I never thought I could actually be an interior designer because I actually didn't have the education. When I realized I could was when Bear and I collectively decided to go into interior design, and we kind of just made it happen without having any sort of, educational background, and we wanted to do it more than pretty much anything else that we had going on.
So for me, I always wanted to be a ballet dancer. That was obviously where my heart and my soul was. But as time went on and you think about that next career and chapter in your life, I heavily thought about either fashion styling or interior design. But the thought of going to school for design was very daunting. School is not my place. I don't thrive in school. So I always had a passion, though, for design. I used to buy Elle Decor and Vogue Living and Architectural Digest, and I would just stare at everything. And going to my friends' homes, I always analyzed every single thing. So I knew that interiors was something that was really a passion of mine. I remember I was dating a guy at the time, and his mom asked me, like, what's next for you after the ballet? And she said to me, you should be an interior designer. And I said, well, I can't do that, though. I didn't go to school. How's anyone ever going to take me seriously? So when I did start this prior to meeting Christina, I helped and dabbled in like a little bit. Like I did a nursery for a friend, a few little bookcases and pillows. And mind you, these were things from like IKEA and Home Goods. It really did, though, make me so happy. And I feel like I've just been such a visual person my whole life that it made sense. Like it started to come together. And like Christina said, like when we finally met and we put our forces, we joined forces and really targeted what we loved. We both, fell in love with interior design. And then we realized that we could make it happen and it could be a career.
I like both of those answers. We actually have another question that I think it's a good question to dive into. Christina, I know you had a fashion background prior to this, and Barrett, you were a dancer, a professional ballerina. What kind of triggered the shift? Did something maybe happen that you were like, this isn't for me? I kind of want to, switch gears. The followers really want to hear more about your career prior to this to then get into interior design.
Well, the fashion industry is really hardcore, and that's how Bear and I are very relatable because they're both in so many different ways hardcore like careers. I always loved doing fashion design. I mean, it was definitely a passion of mine. But when I moved from New York to Philly, there was no fashion design. And as much as I wanted to continue, I really did. I literally tried every little thing. I was going to open another store, or I was going to join forces with a cocktail dress company that was in New York, and I knew I could just work remotely and do that. But it just wasn't really as fulfilling as it really needed to be. And then I did absolutely nothing while I was pregnant, and I was going out of my mind, and I needed that creative juice back. Like I didn't know how to get it, and especially in Philly, unfortunately, it's just not the fashion capital or any sort of fashion capital. So then when I met Barrett, that's when we got together and we realized, okay, wait, there's creative A and creative B. How do we make this happen and make our lives fulfilled with something that we really like to do? And just through trials and tribulations, we found that interior design was like it.
Yeah, so my start to design is a bit different than Christina's. Like you said, I was a professional ballet dancer, so not a designer or fashion designer by any means, but there's so many things in the ballet that do correlate with design. That it's funny, like people ask, like, how did you get into, design from being a ballet dancer? And I'm like, well, as a ballet dancer, you have to really be visual. Like you have to be able to see something and fully understand it and what that means. You also need to have the passion, the drive, the guts to just go for it and really, not look back. But I actually had retired from the ballet and I was working in a corporate job, and I found out that basically, without getting into too many details, I was forced out of my position when I had told them I was pregnant with Dylan. And I'll never forget, I was in the grocery store and I panicked. I was 15 weeks pregnant. Chris and I, we were young. He was 26, I was 27. We had just bought our first real house in the city in Philadelphia, and it was definitely a stretch for us financially. And then we had just got our first car, which I was all excited about because it was the exact mom car I wanted, which is not a mom car, but fits the kids. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't have two incomes now. So what's going to happen? Are we going to lose our house? What are we going to do? So in Barrett fashion, the next day I just started thinking what are things that I know that I can do without having a degree, because I didn't have one, and who's going to hire someone who's pregnant and needs to work from home and doesn't have a degree or any actual business or life experiences except for
You sound like a perfect
ballet.
candidate.
I know, I'm perfect.
Hired.
I know, it's true. So here I am, and I'm like, you know what? We just got married. Our wedding was amazing. We got married in Mexico. It was gorgeous. We were in Philly Mag. We were in a bunch of local magazines, and then I had a great network of people that I knew, especially high net worth people. So I just started reaching out and saying, I could plan your events and your parties, and I can help you with your interior design. I basically was trying to start what I was calling it, a lifestyle company, where we would do interiors and we would do then their homes. Or sorry, not interiors in their homes. We would do their weddings, then it would go into their baby showers and whatnot, and also their homes. So it was kind of this all encompassed package of, we kind of design everything for you. And then obviously I met Christina, and then the rest is history there. But sometimes life just, it throws you lemons, and you got to make lemonade out of the lemons. And that's what I did.
I think you both have a really great example in how you can change career paths, and to not be afraid to do that. Just kind of go after that. I'm going to ask you to just separate. Bear, I remember one time I asked you, is there something about ballet that you miss? And you talked about performing and how presentations are pretty much a performance. Do you want to dive in a little bit more about how you take that mindset of going on stage and how it translates to clients and presentations?
No, and that is one thing. I was known for performing in the ballet. I was not the best technician. I mean, I had great technique, obviously. I was a professional, but that wasn't my strong suit. My strong suit was my performance, which is something that you really can't teach. It's just something that's within. And when I look at presentations, I think of that as a performance, because you've geared up to this point where you've been planning and working on something, right? To the point where you're ready now to showcase it. And when you go to that client, not only are you showcasing all of your work, but you're also selling yourself and your services and your beliefs in your design. So to me, when I'm getting ready to go on stage to the client, I think about all those things. I dress the way I want to feel that day, whether my hair is super tight back or it's down, or I have a lot of makeup on or I don't. It's literally I look at it, okay, how am I feeling today? What's going to make me feel the most confident? And that's a lot with performing too. You need to have the confidence to get on stage in front of all those people and actually perform. So you've got to bring that confidence out. And it's it's like a race. You get in there and you're just bam, 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 bam for 2-3 hours talking straight. explaining your designs. Also, you're showing it in this way of like love too. Like you're telling a story through the presentation. You're not just saying, here's your sofa and here's your chair and here's the table and the light. Like you're really telling a story to them. So you're really performing. It's not like just us talking about design all day long. You are putting on a show. And by the end, you're definitely exhausted. Just like a show, you're exhausted.
The only difference is, well, there's a lot of differences, but the difference is that now you are capable of actually creating your own story.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to, okay, this is what you're doing. You have to be the best of the best of the best, and you have no say for anything. Now you're like, it's like the bird flew out of the cage.
Yeah.
Which
No,
is,
100%.
it must be such a huge relief for you, because there were so many rules and regulations and perfectness, and now you're able to actually like drive your own wheels.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I remember getting off stage at the ballet and having one of the best performances of my life and not even getting a great job or anything like that, because that's just not what it's like. It is interesting. Sometimes you're in a presentation and obviously you're vibing with the clients and you can tell what they're liking, what they're not liking.
Sometimes.
But then we've also had, I've had presentations where I've presented to a client 1000%. I'm like, they're going with everything because they loved everything. They're so happy. And then all of a sudden, the next day you get this phone call or this email that's like, let's like start over. Can we design everything again? And you're like, wait a minute, what was that? But no, it's an adrenaline rush 100%. Like it really, you get out of those presentations and you feel really good because you
ran your race.
Yeah, you put your heart and soul in it.
And Christina,
Yes.
since we've been working closely this summer with certain projects you have going on, do you kind of want to talk about how, coming from the fashion industry, I can definitely tell you like to use really bold colors and patterns, and you have a really good eye at like mixing those patterns to still, again, create this cohesive story. Do you kind of want to talk about how, fashion school and how that has impacted, your new career shift?
Well, with fashion school, it was basically, there was a lot of technical in it, and it was about more like learning the textiles. And that's what I actually take from being in fashion school and working in the fashion industry. That's what I brought to the interior design world for myself, just that knowledge. But when I was in fashion school, it was all about like a lot of measurements. That's something else I got from fashion to interior design, just knowing like how to measure and stuff like that, and what, scale. It's all about scale, and I really, really like got that firsthand from fashion. But with the textiles and the boldness, even as a designer, I always was in a super like fast-paced market where I was able to do very bold and crazy patterns. I was designing, before I opened my own store, I was designing 100 designs a day. And then we had in-house where we were creating 30 samples a day, and we could see it come to life from a sketch. That I think is the most rewarding thing that I could take from the fashion industry, and then like compared to the interior design industry, because even though it's a much slower pace from like the fashion world, it is the same thing. Like you see things come into fruition, and that is like the beauty of like design in itself.
I think too, for Christina and I, one of the reasons like our business partnership has been so great together in terms of the aesthetics of our company, because we do take on our own projects, and sometimes you might think one of her projects is mine or vice versa, but it's because her and I, at the end of the day, I think we've both just always had a love for patterns and bold colors and textures, and we're both not afraid to jump outside of the box. I think it would be really challenging if Christina and I had total opposites in terms of how we approach projects when we are actually designing. Even our houses, like even though they're very different, they both tell the same story, which is those bold choices that we've made, and textures, and just even the quality of like lighting and tiles
Layering
and Yeah, so it makes it for a really beautiful marriage because I like again, if we were so polar opposites in terms of what we think and what we want, it would be really difficult because we'd have to have like two separate categories of clients basically.
I know.
Right?
And
It's like-
we right now, I mean, not only right now, but we have every, well, a lot right now.
Type
we
of
have
client.
every type of client that we've never really had before.
I mean, we even have I mean, I'm even designing a English country
French country.
English countryside we like to call it.
Okay, English.
English countryside design, which, guys, it took a while. The client, I think she fired us twice, but she now loves us, and we are. I think we're there. I think we're aligned now.
Collections are really, really good. I must say, like as I was putting them into the renders, I'm like, this was a really challenging. Like it's not your typical
No,
design
not
style,
at all.
but you still did a really, really great job of picking moments that are very you and still aligning with what the client wants. So it was challenging, but I think it's going to look really good.
It's interesting because it's definitely like anyone that sees it, it's gonna be like, wow, like that's Wydell and Machete, but that's like what we're about.
Yeah, and it would be really good for our portfolio too.
Yeah.
Because we, as long as the client's the perfect fit for us,
There's a seat for every ass.
there's a seat for every ass.
That leads me to now our followers are asking questions about the firm. And I think those questions and what we were just discussing is a great segue into this question. How do you describe the firm's design style and what influences that style?
All right, so I was on a prelim call the other day. As you guys know from other episodes, I do our what we call sales prelim calls, and one of the potential clients asked what was our style at the firm. And I said, I really...
Haven't you looked on Instagram? No.
Yeah, no. But I really do think that we are a mix of modern and contemporary with whimsy. And on top of that, elegance, which is timeless. I don't like using the word glamorous because we're not glamorous. It's not glam. I think
I
glam...
immediately think of like glitz.
So do I. And that's...
Z Gallery.
Me too. Like that house that was on today that I sent you.
Yeah, no offense to Z Gallery. There is a seat for every ass again.
But,
yes,
yeah.
that's just not.
Remember when we first like kind of were hearing from people, they're like, oh yeah,
so
your
glamorous.
jobs, I mean, your projects are so glam. And we're like, wait, we do not at all feel they're glam. I really think that they're timeless because they're really classy, but in a bold way. Like we're not afraid to take chances. So that's why I say that it's modern meets contemporary with a bit of whimsy, but we're timeless. We try to really like, even if it's a trend, we make the trend look
A little unexpected.
yeah, so that they can live. You want to have, listen, when you're spending a lot of money like this, obviously it's a client and what they want and what they need. But when you're spending a lot of money like this, those trends are not what you want to focus on. And you really want to focus on items, materials, all the things that you know that in, let's say, 15 years from now, you're going to still have wanted to make that decision. When even with going bold, you go bold, but in a way that it's still tailored back enough that it's not going to be obnoxious to you in 15 years. And if you do go bold in an area that you are concerned that maybe in 15 years or so it's going to be, outdated, then do it in a way that you know that you can easily one day update and change.
The key is update. Because you always have to update.
Yeah.
Like some things.
Even like our faces.
Obviously, you don't want to update like the big ticket items, but there's a lot of, and that's the way we design too. Like we design that so that the big ticket items they don't have to be changed. You can change everything around it. Wallpaper is easily changed. We want to keep the lighting, so that's a big ticket item.
Yeah.
Obviously, any sort of accessories, coffee table can be changed if you want.
But even like kitchens too, I feel like kitchens are such a big ticket item that designing those in a very tasteful manner, even if you are going bold, but like in a way where again, that maybe in 15 years, 30 years from now, I can update it, but I don't have to redo the whole thing. I mean, it's a challenge. It's really hard. Christina and I feel the same. Like when you really love something so much, you're never going to want to change it.
I do like how with clients you go hard on lighting, and it's a quote that I took from both of you. Like the lighting is the jewelry piece of the room. And I think I said that in a crit for one of my finals. And the jurors loved that because I picked all of this. I picked apparatus lighting for this project. I did learn that from you all. And they were like, what is this lighting? And I'm like, see, y'all don't even know.
No, they don't.
So yeah, good answer. So last firm question, and I think this might be fun. How many people do you have on your team? And can you tell us just a little bit about each person?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have what, 7?
There's 7, maybe 8 now because of our intern.
I know, we keep getting a flux.
Yeah. So
And
obviously,
I think we just hired another person.
another
I
intern.
just wrote her. Yeah, she's super eager, which is amazing.
I know. Well, and yeah, no, it is. We'll talk about that too. So obviously, it's Christina and I,
And Erin.
co-founders. So we'll start
Well,
each
people
person.
I mean, I feel like
so. Well,
if you guys don't know us,
if you don't know us, that's a
now
problem.
you know.
And if you don't know our profile photo and you use it in yours, that's a problem too. No, just kidding.
Oh,
so anyways,
snap.
not calling out any names. No, so obviously it's Christina and I. We are the creative directors and the owners of the company. Then we have Nick, who's our project manager. Nick is, like we've said it before, but he's the Stanley Tucci of Devil Wears Prada. He is amazing and literally our right hand guy. He's running that business just like we are. Underneath Nick, then we have Natalie. She is a senior designer. Then we have Sean. He is a senior designer. Then we've got Mia, who is our design assistant. We have Erin as a design assistant. And then we've got Anna, who is an intern for the summer.
Who has the skills?
She's
sure.
got the skills. And then we just hired, like Christina said, another intern.
Paola.
Yep. So, and you never know, we might be searching for another 2 members. We're always looking for great talent. We need great talent. We love to continue to grow our firm as our firm grows. So it's not that there's always opportunity, but when opportunity is there, we are eager to hire great talent. And also our project coordinator position, which is a lot of the financial side, which right now we're kind of all handling together as there's been some transition there.
So fun.
But yeah, I think like you and I have always kind of said like 10 was like the max we'd want to
Yeah.
get to for the firm. Unless at some point, let's just say, hindsight, that our brand evolved so much that we actually had to hire a side that was all for just like the brand, which means like the wallpaper, the lighting, the upholstery, like all of that portion of the business. That would have to be like a whole separate identity. But as of right now, in terms of the design, I think like our goal has always been to get to 10. But then again, it really just comes, organically when we need it.
And just to talk a little bit about the personalities, we're all so very different and unique. And finally, Bear and I truly feel that we just have such an amazing team, such awesome personalities. Everyone has their role. Everyone knows their role. Like no one oversteps.
I think
And everyone's just happy.
Everyone's helpful.
And I was
Helpful and happy.
helpful, but I was also going to say like everyone respects each other.
Everyone is really, really helpful. Like
our word.
anytime something happens or we need to figure it out or like someone will get a phone call, like you have to do this, but you're in the middle of doing this, like you'll get off the call and I don't know, someone will impede like, listen, I'm actually like kind of slowing on what I had to do. I'll take that off your plate. Like we're really helpful and it doesn't matter if you're a senior level or you're lower, like we're all asking each other questions and learning from everyone. I genuinely love everyone's personality and like everyone can just be themselves and it's a safe space for everyone to be themselves.
Well, we love hearing that because it is not easy to have employees. And in the past, we've learned from our lessons of maybe hiring the wrong personalities for the team and whether they were not working well together or whether Christina and I felt that we weren't being respected at the firm. I don't know if you guys watch Call Her Daddy, but I was watching her documentary the other day and she made a really good point that she needed to tell her team that they really needed to step it up. And she said, if I go to the team and I tell them that they need to step it up, basically I'm looked at as being like this bitch of a businesswoman and I'm a nasty person. But yet if I tell her husband, Matt, who runs the business with her, to go and tell them, he's looked at as just like a really like strong, hard businessman. And I do really resonate with that because I think in the past, especially when we were going through like not hard times, but hard times in the sense like our growth was rapid. Like it was so fast, and we were trying to keep up with everything and plus do everything right. And maybe our team was not as skilled as they needed to be, but our clients were needing that skill. And Christina and I would get really frustrated. And instead of the team maybe understanding like where we were coming from as these business owners and the amount of stress that was on our shoulders, we were kind of looked at as like bitch, business owners. And
I mean, they didn't even say hi to us when we would walk in, like even on a Monday.
Yeah, a
We'd be
Monday.
like, a Monday. We'd walk in and we'd be like, and then everyone would just be at their desk, like,
yeah, we didn't even get a card for Christmas, but
nada.
that is where I think, it's been hard as business owners to have a great relationship with our employees because we love that. And we really love everyone at the firm so much. Like to us, that's like our children. And like I feel like I have these wings and like I'm like a chicken hen and I have all my chickens underneath and I'm protecting you guys. We want to give our employees like the best everything, like everything that we can offer them. But at the same time, we have a business to run and there's expectations to be met. And sometimes we're not happy and sometimes we're not always the nicest, but we really do genuinely 100% care about our employees, that if anything was ever happen to them, we are there. And so it's taken a really long time, and we can now say that our team, like we really feel like we finally have the right team.
I think how you say it too. Like today, you sent us a long message, and we were all like, "No, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get this done?" And then afterwards, it was like the long message, but then the emoji. So, because when you read a long message, your tone in the head, like how you're reading it, is already like intense. But I don't know. Like we didn't take it negatively. Maybe it was the emoji. I don't know. But
then we have follow-up calls, like, okay. Yes. So when, obviously like Barrett and I are not always in the office and a lot of texts are shuffled through. And so, you have to do like a follow-up call to make sure everyone's on the same page. But that's just, okay, so it's in writing. We're going to talk about it. What's your, what's your plan?
Yeah. And just because we're stern and we want things done at a certain time frame or, we want it, done differently or whatever it is, just because we're stern doesn't mean that we don't love or want the best. And that's why I did the heart emoji when I sent it over to them, because I was stern in my text, but stern in a way of saying like, right. I love you guys.
Love you
We
guys.
just really
Get
need to get
done.
this done like now.
hence why I brought my computer. Okay, so now we have the really good juicy questions. I think these questions are actually pretty good because they're questions that I think anyone really would have. I mean, currently right now, how many projects does the firm work on at one time?
So hard.
I know, because honestly, it's like between like 10 and 15. And
No,
it's just, like,
I think and we're not getting to like the 15 anymore. We're like 10
we
and
still
below.
have like the ones that are.
I'd say actively though at a time, each you and your designer and me and my designer, we actively take on 2 to 3 at a time. So I would say that actively, constantly, every day, there's probably 6 projects that we're shuffling through, yet there's still odds and ends from other projects. So call it 10. But I think we're really kind of at a point now where it's like 10 is where we're at. And then we, hopefully can go down from there too. Like the goal is to have 5 really amazing projects a year, and that's it.
They're getting bigger.
Way bigger.
They're getting bigger. They're no longer like a few rooms. Like they are like the whole house, which is great.
Right.
Okay. Is there one project that you've done that stands out to you the most?
I know people ask this one too. It's so hard because there's so many good ones.
Well, Short Hills was like your baby because it took a lot of time.
4 years.
And when we were installing it, like you were very happy with how it was coming. So that's a one
For
that
me personally, yeah, I would say. Well, I was going to say Short Hills too, and it is going to be published, but we can't talk about that. And you guys haven't seen pictures of it. It's really difficult to not share.
we're just building it up.
What about you, Christina?
I don't have like any true specifics. I like every single project for what they're worth, honestly. And the client and the process and all of it. Like,
Yeah.
I just think each one is evaluated differently. Like, I can't even say, oh, I love the aesthetic of this one or this one or this one. It's not really about that. It's really about the whole package together. And we kind of weigh all of them in kind of in the same way. I could tell you the worst one.
I think Short Hills, though, the reason why it really stood out was because It was a 4-year project. And 4 years ago, our firm was completely different than it is now. And the fact is, 4 years ago, we were building from the ground up the largest project square footage wise that we've ever worked on. Also with, a nice, healthy budget for the entire thing, plus being able to do a lot of custom. So at that time, it really did kind of catapult the firm to a different level of expertise and design. And on top of that, the client's own personal taste and design is a little different than mine personally. So it was a nice challenge. But every project is really collective with your client. So that's why it is kind of hard to pinpoint the best ones. And when you have a really amazing client too, it's even if the project's not amazing, but you love the client, that makes it amazing.
Yeah. That's why it's so hard because, certainly I have so many clients that I'm like, I'll do anything for you, even though, maybe the budget's not there. I don't know. It's just, it's hard. I feel like it's a whole equation that's involved.
All right, so we have enough time for one more question. So I'm going to leave it with a fun one. An interior design student, so aspiring designers, wants to know, how can you stand out when applying to jobs?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I always look for is the hustle. And I want someone coming into our firm that literally is I will be here every single day, 9 to 5, 9 to 12, whatever you need from me. I am here. I'll do it. If I ask them to go, run a silly errand to FedEx or whatever, they have no problem. If I ask them to help me with the hardest thing, they have no problem. They are willing to wear every hat and ask the right appropriate questions.
Right. So that's when they're hired. So these people, these newbies, need to actually hustle. What Bear and I have seen with applicants, actually, the way that they stand out is they give us some sort of package. Not we don't have to ask them. We do give design challenges, yes. But, a couple times we've received a beautiful box with a presentation, previous works, school works, just a whole package to say here I am. This is, the style that I am, but I can do anything. And it's just it says a lot when you go that extra mile because you know that they want to work for your firm. It's not that they just need a job.
But if you are an intern out there and you are doing an internship, I would say what we look at is the ones that really honestly put in the effort with a smile and they don't put up any attitude, at all. Just the new intern who's coming on, she's going to be traveling from New York every single day, 5 days a week. And we don't pay for our internships. They are unpaid. So that shows you that she's hungry. And already in my mind, I'm that's amazing because it really does say a lot, especially nowadays with how things are kind of run. So Erin, thank you so much for being here. And obviously we love you.
Now get back to work.
Yeah, we're so happy that you're at the firm. But yes, let's stay tuned because in our next episode, we're actually going to talk about current situations with clients, things that maybe aren't so easy that we're dealing with right now and how we're getting through those. So it's going to be a little bit of a different conversation, a little difficult, but we're going to get it through together as we always do. Together as we always do. Cheers.
Erin doesn't drink, so.
Cheers to Seat for Every Ass. Make sure that you follow, you tell all your friends. We love you guys, and thank you so much for all those fun questions that you sent in. All right.